Omaha Police are investigating a bank robbery. Investigators say a man walked into the bank at the Bank of the West at 87th and West Center. It was a little after 3:15 this afternoon. He left with an undetermined amount of money. He's described as having a dark complexion and a tall, muscular build. He was wearing a black jacket with a white undershirt, khaki pants, a hairnet, glasses, medical-grade style mask, and white tennis shoes. If you have any information about this, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. Tips leading to an arrest are eligible for a $20,000 reward.